All right. Hi, everybody. We're going to be taking a look at how do we make these shapes a little less predictable? How do we make them random? And I would love to sort of have a variety of shapes that are sort of generated for me without me having to make all the decisions. I want to be surprised by my faces. So I'd like to randomize a few different things. I'd like to randomize maybe the color. I'd like to randomize maybe the size and also maybe the position as well. I'd like to give it some randomness so that it can decide for itself what kind of face it should look like. So I am going to go ahead and use the random function. It's a very handy function. Let me show you what it looks like. It is like this, random, and then you give it a lower bound, let's say 0, and an upper bound, let's say 255. And what it'll do is it'll return a number that is between these two numbers. I think it will include 0, but I'm not sure. I have to double check, but I don't think it quite includes 255. It might be wrong on that. But basically, you can think of it a number in this range. And it will be a float, just to be clear. It'll be a decimal number. So you can't do something like this, int x equals, because that returns a float, and that's not a float, that's an int. So we can instead say float x equals a random number. And it's giving me a warning. I haven't used it yet, but that does work. It will run just fine. This will probably come into play when I go to put a random in here. And I just want you to know that I've made that change for my face. It now has float x and float y for its x coordinates, not int like in the previous videos. So now I'll be able to do some randomness here. I'll be able to, maybe I'll just kind of cut it down to a single face, and let's just give it some randomness. So maybe I'll give it a random number. I'd like this face to appear, roughly anywhere on the screen. Maybe I'll give it a bit of a border around, maybe like 100. Oops, sorry. Maybe between 100 and 400, 500. I don't know. And notice that is my entire parameter. I've actually put this into our function. So my function call face has a function call in it. But notice that's like the whole parameter there. This comma here, represents the fact that there is my x coordinate. And my x coordinate is going to be a random number. I can turn that x coordinate, or sorry, that y coordinate into a random number too. I can also say random 100, 500. It's a little bit tricky to see where sort of this function begins and ends and where the parameter list begins and ends. Hopefully you can see that. Here I'm going to put in a randomness for the size. I'll put a random function call from 0 to 1, because that seems like that will work nicely for the size. The size 0 is a very small face, so maybe I'll make it 0.25. And 1's a pretty big face, but whatever. Let's just go for it. Okay, so let's run and let's see what happens. We get some random stuff. Whoa, what is happening? My face is going crazy. It's going all over the place. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying because guess what? This random function, it generates a random number every time it's called. And because we're in the draw function right now, we are going to be doing that 60 times a second. So we're going to get randomness like crazy. Now, we could store this in a variable, but that's actually not where I'm going with this. So, if you wanted it to be a random place and stay in the draw, probably some kind of variable will be required. Excuse me. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to take this I'm going to cut it. I don't know what I did there. I'm going to try again. I'm going to cut this, and I'm actually going to put it in my setup. I'm just going to have, all my drawing in my setup for a little while. And I think that'll be a good place to go. Whew, these functions are getting long now that we got functions in our functions. So, yeah, so there's a face, there's a face, there's a face, there's a face. It's random. It's putting it in different places, different sizes. We're getting different faces. It's kind of nice. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is maybe make it a random color. So there's no parameters for color, and that might be a thing you want to do. You might want to parameterize its color, which means make it, send it a color. And then for my face, what I'll do is I'll just randomize it, in my own desire. So maybe my skin, I can choose to have a random color here. So how do you pick a random color? Well, I'm going to just put in good old RGB. So normally you have a red, a green, and a blue value here, right? These aren't actually variables that exist though. So what I'll do is I'll stick a random number in here. Random from 0 to 255. So I'm just going to use that as my parameter for red, green, and blue. And then our skin will be a random color. We'll have not just blue people, we'll have green people, and purple people, and teal people, and pink people, and green people. And we're starting to repeat colors. You get the idea. We have a variety of different colors of people now as a result. And that's still, they all have red eyes. So maybe in my, eye function, maybe I might fill with a different color there. I might also choose to do randomness and make just a whole variety of faces. So I'll fill here with a random color as well. So now the eye color. Oh, and look, they're all random color. Ooh. Very nice. Hey, how would I make it so that all three of the eyes are the same? That's an interesting question. How would I make it so that one face got to choose the same color? So every time we call eye, we get the re-randomization, right? Every time we call the eye function and we call that 3 times, we're re-randomizing. So what we could do is we could choose to randomize before we call the eye and send those same numbers as parameters. So what I'm going to do instead of making the eye function choose its own color here, right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 parameters, and then I am going to randomize their values and send them as parameters. So I'm going to say instead of just x and y, now I'm going to have a float red, float green, having troubles, and float blue. So now my eye functions take in a set of parameters. So I'm going to fill with those values. Now, if you go back to the eye function call, this is where I'm calling the function. Notice it doesn't work anymore because it says, I'm expecting parameters like float, 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 float. It wants 5 numbers now. I'm only sending 2 numbers. So these functions don't work anymore the way they do it. So I just have to throw in some red, green, and blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomize them here in the face function, because then I can just randomize them once and send them as parameters. So what I'll do is I'll make maybe a set of variables. Now I could make them global variables. I could be like, yo, here's some float red, green, blue, but I don't know if I want that to take up that space. So what I might do is just declare some local variables. So you already know about global variables. Those are the variables that are accessible everywhere. And then I have the parameter variables, which are only accessible within that function. Well, guess what? You can also make local variables. Now, you could do this as global variables. So if you're like, whoa, too many variable types, no problem. It's not a big deal. But I like to use local variables whenever possible, because then I don't have to worry about the global variable space getting cluttered up. It's just going to be in this function where they exist. And if I want another function to have those variables, totally fine. Those works just fine. So what I'll do is I'm going to make a float red, green, and blue. I'll declare those variables. And then I'm going to say r equals a random number between 0 and 255. And basically I'm going to do that for green and blue as well. So I'll just copy and paste and then change it to green and blue. And then what I can do is I can send those variables. But I've already chosen them. So if I send it red, green, and blue, and I do that for the other eyes, then see how they're all going to be the same color? Because I randomized them before I made the eyes, and I'm using the same color over and over again. And because those are parameters, whatever random number I chose is getting loaded into those parameter variables. So if I go to the eye, this R, G, and B are gonna have those whatever values I sent it, and then we'll use it to fill. So let's see what that looks like now. Yeah, they're all the same. Awesome. That's a beautiful face. Look at that face. I'm loving these faces. These are so much more beautiful than I could have imagined. Just dope faces. Everyone's got dope faces. Yeah. How else could you use? How else could you use randomness? Well, there's so many different possibilities. What about like how many teeth the face has? How wide the mouth is? How far apart the eyes are spread? How many eyes there are might be a little bit of a tough one. How far apart the hair is spread. You could do a bunch of stuff with randomness to generate other varieties inside of our face function to create more variety. So we're gonna stop there, and I'm gonna invite you to be, adding some randomness. So do think about what kind of things you can make random in addition to these things. But in the next video, we're gonna look at how we could sort of like, I keep running this over and over again. What if I wanted just like 100 faces? Just 100 beautiful random faces right here. Show it to me right now. Would love to see it. We're gonna learn about the while loop, and that'll allow us to make code happen over and over again in a lovely way. So let's head out to that video, and we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks, everybody. I don't know if this is gonna work. I gotta let's do the manual. Bye.